That's going to be one of those mornings. All right. One of those mornings. Morning, Alex. Sorry about the lateness. Yes, I admit I was trying to cut highlights from last night, but trying to get into our studio, sometimes technology wants to have their cup of coffee. So for the first time in a long time, actually, technology had their cup of coffee. They kind of wanted to sit and hang out for a little bit. So they sat and hang out for a little bit. And that's where we are. So obviously we're going to go past, obviously we're going to go past the 11:05, considering that we got in a little late. But how are you after what happened last night? John, hear you there. Thanks for dropping by. Obviously, we'll have the highlights of what happened last night, a couple of the highlights from the 2-2 draw involving Atlanta United, and we will get into everything that went down last night. We'll go over the stats. We'll go over what you guys think. Hour number 2, remember, it is the standard amount of fun that we get to have on a Thursday, where the hour number 2 is fully loaded, and it's going to be hanging out with our buddy Niko Moreno, and he will be a part of it too. And obviously, we'll bring in our buddy Nino Torres and discuss what is on Nino's mind. And so, because of technology being what it is, I'm actually finally getting the chance to alert everybody. Hey, show's up. Come on in. One of those kinds of things. And so, but I beg your forbearance for like the next minute and a half while I'm trying to. No, it says open WhatsApp on your phone. See, this is how I get in touch with. This is how I get in touch with Nino, because Nino living, 9 gazillion miles away from the rest of us. So, all right. So hang on. This is where we are. No, I don't want to view the contact. Just get me back to WhatsApp here. All right. So hang on. Link devices. Here we go. Link a device. Yes. Fine. Tap a device. Log out. Fine. See, this is what happened. This is really okay. Connect to Wi-Fi to continue. All right. So I'm connecting to Wi-Fi to continue. Goodness gracious almighty. All right. So now, time to link a device. I'm going to log out, use my phone. This has got to be just the most riveting anything and everything going on, audio and video. So this is what I do before the show starts every morning. And on Thursdays, trying to get in touch with Nino on Thursdays. And so literally this is how I do it. It's linking a device and getting into Nino's WhatsApp. And so I can sit here and go, Nino, go here. And obviously with Nino, we'll discuss everything going on in Libertadores, Sudamericana, and probably his Columbus Crew. So, all right. So now that everybody has been notified, goodness gracious almighty, it's going to be one of those mornings. I can already sense it. Okay. Hi. Morning, Abby. Morning, Alex. But Abby's getting on me for wearing my Miami Toros shirt. By the way, Red Jacket, when they did old school gear, fantastic stuff. But the Miami Toros were a part of the old. Let me get Abby's lower third out of here. Miami Toros were a part of the old, like USL 1960s, early 70s activity. And so when Red Jacket produces a T-shirt that has retro on it, I'm going to buy it. Oh God, no, there's nothing. And I think the Miami Toros. Right now that Abby has actually opened this door. Let me get the intel, and this might actually be opening kickoff. Presented by our friends at Kickoff. Yeah, and Streaker does the stuff. The Toros were the Washington Darts. 72, 73, dissolved in 76, and rebranded as your Fort Lauderdale Strikers, Abby. Rebranded as your Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Played at Miami-Dade North, the Orange Bowl, Tamiami Field, and Joe Robbie actually was their chairman. So, the Miami Toros, and they were the Miami Gatos and the Miami Toros and the Washington Darts before they turned into the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. So there we go. Abby, what I did accidentally, Miami in the name. I know. It was either this or the Jacksonville team in, and I think I wear that shirt a lot. So, all right. So that was opening kickoff, I think. Alex, stressed getting into the bins, hate being late. Traffic was a nightmare. Correct. Yes. And David, yeah, Rob's comments post match to the Russian news outlet were priceless. It was crazy last night, no doubt about it. And Abby, yes, got the Marta hat. Yeah, and David introduced themselves to ask about Alexei, and it was the second question having to do with Alexei Miranchuk. And Rob was like, "Hey, can y'all be here every week?" And that got a good chuckle out of the room. Very, very cool stuff. Now Michael can mark off seeing Messi in person. So there we go. Okay, so that is the early part of opening kickoff. I'm just going to go ahead and call it opening kickoff, considering that we were 10 minutes late getting in this morning because of technology. So that's your QR code for those of you watching. However, you're accessing us on the 280 character app, on Twitch, or on the YouTubes. Use that QR code to get into Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. And what you do there is you get, after Soccer Down Here 15 is used, you get 15% off your purchase. They in turn take 10%, reinvest at youth games, youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. There we go. Now with our friends at Alliance Nurse Corps, that is their QR code. Over 30 years of experience in trying to get folks into the nursing industry or trying to find folks their next stage in the nursing industry. Alliance Nurse Corps, great partners with us here at SDH. And what you do there is you hit that QR code to start your quest in nursing. And then they'll ask you, how'd you come across Alliance Nurse Corps? You go, SDH, yo. And then that's how all of that goes. And our friends at Alliance Nurse Corps, once again, great friends with us here at SDH. Rundown. Rundown is what it is. It's just push forward or push backward 10 minutes. Obviously, I'll be on until like 11:15, so we can have our 2 hours and talk about everything that happened in Champions League yesterday. Whatever's on your mind from what happened last night. Whatever's on your mind from what happened last night. 10:05, 10 o'clock, our buddy Nino Torres will join us, and we'll talk Sudamericana, Libertadores, and his crew. Last half hour of the show, traditionally, so 10:30 or 10:35 for a half hour, it'll be Niko. Niko will talk about what happened in the Western Conference last night. There was chaos, and so we'll get into that, and we'll discuss everything with our buddy Niko until about 11:05, and then I'll go back over what happened yesterday. We got news of the morning to get into, and then staying till at least 11:15, and then we'll get all of that stuff moving and grooving, and all is well, I guess, maybe, considering that we actually do have a signal now and we're up and running. All right, let's go through the goals. Late in the 20s, our friends with Messi and Friends, and Messi and Friends had a rotated lineup last night. Let me get into the lineups for you. Atlanta was about as first choice as you can get. And the interesting aspect was that Saba was on the left, Miranchuk was on the right, as you had the injury to Xande Silva, and that created question marks up top. So then you're wondering, okay, what are we doing here? And we found out that was how it was going to be. But obviously, Miranchuk would drift, and Saba would drift, and you would have those kinds of moments. So your lineups last night: Brad in net, your back four: Pedro Amador, Derek Williams left to right, Stian and Brooks Lennon. Midfield: Muyumba, Dax McCarty, and Bart Sleesh. Alexei Miranchuk was on the right. Daniel Rios in the middle. Saba Lobjanidze was on the left. For Messi and Friends were on the bench. It was left to right: Franco Negri, Sergei Krivtsov, Ian Frey, Marcelo Weigand. And your midfield: Benja Kremoski, Yannick Bright, David Ruiz. And up top, it's Robert Taylor, Leo Campagna, and Julian Gressel. Subs for Atlanta United: it was Jay Fortune, Edwin Mosqueda, Jamal, Noah Cobb, Matt Edwards, Luis Abram, Tyler Wolf, Luke Brennan. Do not be surprised, a sidebar, if you end up with Noah, Matt, maybe Tyler, and Luke Brennan making the trek up to Charlotte tonight to take on, for the twos, as they take on Charlotte Independence. That one, or Crown Legacy. Wow. Crown Legacy. Crown Legacy's that pregame is going to be 7 o'clock, kickoff 7:33 here on the network. So it is Crown Legacy, Atlanta United 2 on the network tonight, 7 o'clock pregame. We hear from Steve Cook. It's 2 sections with Steve Cook. And then we get ready for everything at 7:33, soccerdownhere.mixler.com. So do not be surprised if some of the folks on the bench, specifically Noah and Luke, might make their way to Matthews tonight for Atlanta United 2 and Crown Legacy. Bench for Jorge Taylor because Tata Martino had yellow card accumulation. Messi, Alba, Redondo, Ryan Saylor, Luis Suarez. Your backup keeper was Oscar Ustari. Lawson Sunderland was the one position player that did not make an appearance last night. So Lawson Sunderland on the trip, and he'll be heading north after practice today, which apparently is going to be at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground. So they're hanging out an extra day. They're going to practice today, get in a little regen, and then head north to New York. So that's your lineups. And so that's where we are. So then in the 20s, you end up with a goal for Atlanta United. A goal against Atlanta United. David Ruiz scoring. You had a couple of defenders collapse, creating a 2-on-1. Through ball gets behind all 3 players. Ruiz is open between 2 defenders, puts it in the net, and it's 1-0. So that's where we are. And that's where we were at the half. After that, Atlanta United would get the equalizer. And here's how it was called from our friends at 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app. Some guy named Sabalob Janidze with the equalizer.
Down the middle off center spot to the front side of center circle. Loops it ahead to Amador. Good ball. In the left corner of the 18. He sends it to the penalty spot. Header! Score! Listen, all you all, it's a sabotage! Another goal in this match that comes out of absolutely nowhere. Somehow, though, we're even at 1.
So we're at 1-1, and that did not last long. Foul called just outside the 18, right off the edge of the D. Atlanta had 5 in the wall and Saba below. I want to say it eventually evolved into 6 in the wall. Saba blocking on the ground level, and this gave Inter Miami the 2-1 lead.
Hey, you could stand on the end of the wall. Can't do that now. You've got to be a certain distance away.
So Taylor is standing over the ball, and then behind it is Campana.
I wonder if you're going to see a little misdirection here.
Now it's Taylor to the left and Campana to the right, and Campana is up to it. He goes for goal, deflected in. Well, that didn't take long. 2-1 Miami.
It was 2-1 Miami. And from there, the game gets wide open. Some guy named Messi comes in with about 30 to go. And it seemed like from that moment, the game just ended up being street racing. I mean, literally, you pull the governor out of the golf cart, you're going down one way, you're heading back the other way, game goes wide open, everybody's chasing, and you're trying to catch up, and your head's on a swivel, and you're trying to catch up and keep up with everything. It was nuts. The final 30 minutes was played at 78 RPM, and that is a reference for those of us of a certain vintage. Basically, what that means is that the record was playing really fast. And you end up, and there are 2 versions of this that I want to play. The equalizer and eventual, game finale at 2-2. There are 2 versions of this that I want to play. I want to start with Mike and Jason's version, once again here at 92.9 The Game on the Odyssey app. So here is your equalizer and a moment for Atlanta United fans.
On the far touchline to Atlanta.
Amador blocks a shot on the goal line and then starts the attack with a wonderful ball.
Off the throw, Moranchuk, right corner of the 18. Shot! Score! Golazo! From Russia with love. What a golazo to open your MLS account, Alexei Moranchuk. It's 2-2.
And so it's 2-2, and that would be the eventual that would be your eventual final. But there's a different version that I want to play. And it lends itself to what Jason said at the beginning of the 92-9 call and how the play actually developed. And as we continue to see how Pedro Amador continues to become accustomed to what is asked of him at left back and get acquainted with everybody and all of their wants, desires, and needs. But it was a moment of defense from Pedro Amador that started the whole thing. This is the long version, and it's Jake and TT, courtesy of Apple TV and MLS. Here was how the play started. Here's Jake and Taylor.
To Bright, Jordi Alba, Suarez, Negri. Chance to serve. Negri looking for Messi. Slish was there. Back to Negri. Now Messi. And Messi saved. And then off the line somehow. Suarez thought he had his 18th of the year. Denied by Atlanta, who are still in it. Amador, wonderful ball. Mosquera. Chare in the middle. Morancha cut back as a Chare. He didn't get all of it. Mosquera blocked by Jordi Alba, still in play. Jordi Alba kept that from being a corner. It will be a throw for Atlanta. End to end at Mercedes-Benz. Lennon. Miranchuk. Miranchuk!
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do this because that's what those of you in attendance last night did for us in the press box. Those of you who are watching, it is a goosebump check, and understandably so. I mean, it was, as the team, as Atlanta United was chasing and chasing and chasing in that final 30 minutes. Yes, obviously there was the huge pop for Lionel Messi when he came in. Huge pop for when Luis Suarez came in. I get it. Trust me, I understand it. Getting a chance to see those guys come into your building. And I will say that there were a couple of dudes for Atlanta United that just thought of those individuals as, oh, dude with the ball. Maybe after the match, they had a couple of minutes to sit there and sit down and go, man. But Jay Fortune and Bart Slish, specifically, in trying to track down Lionel Messi, kept him pretty much in check. And there were moments where Messi was trying to do some magic, and I know it was 2-on-5 at points, and Messi, most of the time he'll sit there and he'll take it and he'll run. But I got to give a tip of the hat to Jay Fortune. I got to give a tip of the hat to Bart Slish. For when Messi wanted to charge inside the 18, he got stopped. Stan Gregerson, Derek Williams, the whole bit. But Jay Fortune specifically. Jay Fortune and Rob mentioned it after Rob Valentino mentioned it after the match. As Jay continues to get more games, get more reps, you're seeing the Jay Fortune that Atlanta United saw in Jay Fortune. So the numbers, and let me get the numbers on Lionel Messi. Came in for 30 and came in for Julian Gressel. So 29 minutes. XG plus XA was a .24. One shot on target, one shot blocked. One dribble attempt successful out of 2. 28 touches, 18 and 20 passing. One long ball, 1 of 3 on his ground duels. Lost possession 5 times. That was Messi in 29 minutes. Then Luis Suarez comes in, gives you 10, coming in for Campana. In that 10 minutes, Suarez had the one shot on target, so his XG plus XA, his OPS, was a .48. Unsuccessful dribble attempt, 1 big chance missed, 10 touches, 5 of 6 passing, 0 for 2 on ground duels, lost possession twice, got fouled once. So that was Luis Suarez on the night. And so obviously tomorrow we'll look at minutes for Atlanta United going forward and how it would look against Red Bulls. But once again, this is where this is where you sit there, you raise your hand, you sit there and go, yeah, coach, I can go. Just ask a guy like Saba Lobjanidze. So Saba, and I mean this in the most incredibly flattering way possible. He left it all out there last night. I mean, he was running his ass off. And if you caught the interview with the Hoff after the match, Saba, it's like, 5 matches left, and I'm paraphrasing, but 5 matches left, and we're going to try our hardest to get into the playoffs. But Saba left it all out there last night. And his better half was having a birthday, so he scores on her birthday. Saba last night, in the full 90 minutes, 1 shot on target, 2 shots off, 2 shots blocked, 1 dribble attempt successful, 48 touches, 23-28 passing, 82%. Had the 1 long ball, one duel on the ground, one duel in the air, which was the goal. And so that was Saba last night. Punched a 7.3 with his goal on the board. By the way, Miranchuk punched an 8.1, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore. And 90 minutes, 1 goal, XG of 0.17. So his OPS was a 0.52, XG plus XA. Shots on target, 1, 2 off target, 1 blocked, had 1 dribble attempt successful, 53 touches, 31 of 38, passing at 82%. 3 key passes, 2 for 5 on crosses, 3 of 4 on his long balls, 1 big chance created, 1 duel on the ground. And that was Alexei Miranchuk. And one of the things that I thought was telling about Miranchuk last night was once he scored, he's calling for everybody to dogpile. He's outside the 18 and he's looking around, and you see him call everybody into the pile. He wants to celebrate with everyone. I mean, the man had a big night. First off, he got to meet Offset. I don't know who Offset is, but I'll take it that Offset is one of Miranchuk's favorite artists, and Offset got to hammer the golden spike. But the fact that Alexei Miranchuk got to meet Offset and then finishes the night with the equalizing goal. I mean, AM59, he had a busy night. He had a busy night. But he calls everyone into the dog pile, and he wants to celebrate with everyone. And then once everyone is back to center line, he's the one who's going like this. You see him actually, waving folks forward and getting everybody engaged and all that kind of stuff with the amount of time that was left after he scored. So I thought it was interesting. I thought it was cool that he's instigating all of this togetherness already. And he's reminding folks, hey, we still got work to do, all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was really cool with Miranchuk after he scored last night. So that was how it ended with Atlanta United and Messi and friends. Like I said, Messi and friends, the word is that they're going to get in some regen today at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground, and then they're going to fly up to New York because they've got the early game on Saturday against NYCFC. So, if you just apply simple math to things, I would probably sit here and say, okay, the dudes that came in off the bench, they're going to be the ones who are starting in the early game on Saturday for Inter Miami. But for Atlanta United, it's what can you give me? How many minutes can you go? Yes, coach, I'm good to go. I'm ready to play. And so that's what I'm anticipating with all of that kind of activity that you have. So after last night, if I could type standings after last night, and like I said, we'll go over all of the other stuff, and once again, whatever's on your mind. Seattle had a bit of a shocker last night. We'll catch up with Niko about that coming around 10:30. But last night, New England, Montreal, a 2-2 draw. Philadelphia 5-1 over NYCFC, and that was the shocker of the evening. It was 3-0 at the break. Barabo, Ua, and Gazdag scoring for Philadelphia. So Rich Ransom had a good night. at Yankee Stadium. So 5-1 Philly, and now NYC has to turn around and play Messi and friends in the early game on Saturday. Crew shut out Toronto FC. That helped out Atlanta United 2-0. Purple team beat Charlotte 2-0. And what Jarrett has continued to say about Charlotte continues to have to have the prophecy continue. Have not won in 2 months. Well, they've won once, I think once since August in MLS competition. They've won in Leagues Cup. Charlotte continues their slow fade. The irony that it was the purple team that beat them last night at Inter & Co. 2-0. Houston, Vancouver 1-1. Kansas City put 4 on Colorado, winning that one 4-1. FC Cincinnati beat Minnesota 2-1. Nashville shut out Chicago in a bit of a stunner, 1-0, although it was at Geodis, so B.J. Callahan's win streak is now at 2. Salt Lake 3-2 over Dallas in a crazy one at Rio Tinto. LAFC and Austin, a bit of a surprise, a 1-1 draw there. So Austin gets into LA and leaves with a point. As anticipated, in our conversations with Dylan Butler yesterday, Dylan was like, yeah, take the over. He's like 11-goal banger. He was half right. And we also, because the juice boxes only ran out at 5.5, which was, I think it was a plus 9,000 or something. If you had taken plus 5.5, you would have gone out really well. Portland beat LA 4-2 in a game that was nuts. And Seattle and San Jose 2-2. Like I said, we'll get into the Western Conference with Niko, and we'll work backward with Niko, but we'll start Western Conference with Niko at about 10:30 or 10:35. So, standings and how things are. Miami, once again, 8 points clear. Columbus, with a match in hand, would only close it to 7 if they were to win that match in hand. So, Miami 63, Cincy 55, Crew at 53. They're in. Then the chaos starts. Orlando at 43, 2 more wins than Red Bulls. Red Bulls are now in 5th. NYC in 6th. They've got a little elbow room, but not a lot. 40 points, 3 behind Red Bulls, 2 ahead of Charlotte. Charlotte has just been... Charlotte's at 38. Charlotte's coming back to the pack. Toronto's at 36. Philly's at 33. But Toronto's also played 30 matches. They've only got 4 left. So everyone behind Toronto's got a match in hand. Philly, 29 matches, 33 points, 8 wins. Same record as DC, better in goal difference by 19 goals. That's why DC is 10, Philly is 9. Atlanta's at 32, 8 wins. Same record as Nashville, better goal difference by 11 goals. Montreal is 13th at 31. Chicago is 14th at 29. New England is 28 matches, 28 points. So the get-in right now to be the 9 in the Eastern Conference, you have 5 teams you have, if you include Philly, 7 teams separated by 5 points to get into the playoffs and be the 9. That's where you are in the Eastern Conference right now. And you have that to look into as you look forward into the matchups this weekend. NYC hosting Miami. They're the early. Charlotte hosting New England at 4. So New England can do some damage in the afternoon and draw Charlotte back to the pack a little bit. Columbus hosting Purple Team. And I know that here, it's no skin off anybody's nose if you root for Crew. Montreal and Chicago affects the folks behind you. Red Bulls in Atlanta once again. 7:40 kick, 7:30 listing, 7:40 kick on season pass. Nashville hosting Cincinnati. That affects what's going on around you. That's at 8:40 on season pass. And then everything else is West Coast. You have Philly and DC as a game on Sunday. Once again, that affects folks around you. So you take care of your own on the road. You get to keep an eye on Philly and DC in addition to everything else, but you'll be in a hotel room or probably on your – actually, you might be in your own bed just rolling out of the rack at 6:15 on Sunday. Well, no. You will have been in your own bed. You'll have slept late. You've gone in for regen. You've got Philly and DC and it's listed at 6:15, but we know it's going to be 6:25. That's on the free side of Apple TV and FS1. So that's what you're staring at. Then you get days off to get ready to the regular schedule. And then with Atlanta, it's that trip to Philly on the 28th. So that is where things stand right now involving Atlanta, everyone around them, and all the chaos that's attached. Our buddy Nino Torres, who's ready to come in fully loaded. Here's his shopping list as we go. Libertadores, Sudamericana, the Champions League, and he actually likes the new format. So this will give us a chance to get into the matches that have happened so far and preview what happens today. Gyökeres and the Sporting CP Portugal Revolution. Remember, he had talked about Victor Gyökeres and what he has meant to Sporting's revival in Portugal. We'll get into that. And, of course, his Universitario en route to a championship on their 100-year anniversary. He got a bonus track from last night. And he ends it this way. Fully loaded, baby. So it's going to be a full half hour with Nino Torres coming up in just a little bit. FIFA has come out with their rankings of folks in the Americas. Shocking no one, Argentina's at number 1. Brazil is at 5. Colombia is 9. Uruguay 11. Mexico ahead of the USMNT, 17 and 18. Okay. Ecuador 27. Panama 37. Canada, I was about to say Canada. Canada 38. Venezuela. Vamos, Venezuela. They're at 40. Peru is at 43. And this is something we'll get into with Nino about as well. Chile at 49, Costa Rica 50, Paraguay 57, Jamaica 61, and Honduras is at 77. So those are your new FIFA rankings for teams in the Americas. So let's say hi to everybody before Nino joins us at the top of the hour. Morning, Alex. Morning, Abby. Let's see. Morning, David. Let's see. Morning, Michael. Morning, Four Card. I don't know if it's going to be a 3-hour show because, like I said, we came in late because technology was drinking decaffeinated coffee this morning. Literally, the way that this works, and I know that this is probably too much information that you really care about, but traditionally you set up a show and it's as easy as clicking a button and it brings you into the studio space. And then I get a mirrored shot of myself in the camera. And I can, go into the studio space, get everything triggered, and then we're off and running and we can go. I kept hitting the login to get into the studio space, and it wouldn't come up. It's like, check your connection on the internet. And I'm looking at, multiple monitors and things. And I know that since the large television device that's off to my left is also attached to our internet, it's on. Monitor's on. This is not, as I point forward and let you know what I'm talking about. So I kept clicking into the studio space literally for like 15 minutes. Check your internet connection or let us know. And so then I end up hitting, the second that I ask for technical assistance, then that's when it triggered and ran. Actually, Four Card, let me see. I mean, the 11 o'clock hour for me is pretty clean. Although I do have some editing to do this afternoon before we have Crown Legacy and the Twos on the network tonight. Like I said, we're going to 11:15 because I came on at 9:15. We're doing the 2 hours. That much I do know. We might have some conversation just to round it off to 11:30. We'll see. 3-hour show? No, because I got to save the pipes for Atlanta United 2 later tonight on the network. So we'll be in that. We'll be in that neighborhood. We'll be at like 11:30-ish before we go. If we had anything going on like the good old days, perhaps. There is a certain amount of parking and travel lament. Alex picked up his cousin in East Cobb at 6, didn't park until 7:35. He had 5 minutes to run into the building. It was a 7:40 start. 20 of those minutes spent waiting to turn right into the blue lot. Well, full disclosure with Maddie and Sophia, it took them an hour and 15 minutes to get the last 3 miles. So, and they got stuck with the Greyhound Galacticos going in the opposite lane, trying to get into the building. And by the way, scarf. There we go. New scarf and resurgence and all that. By the way, I don't know how many of you come in from the eastern part of the metro Atlanta area. This is a public service announcement. For those of you who want to come into Mercedes-Benz Stadium for whatever event, Falcons, Travis Kelce's girlfriend, because I think she's got a show this weekend or early next week. The lovely, talented, and ever powerful Taylor Swift. If you're coming from the east side of town and you're not coming in on the freeway and you're coming in DeKalb Avenue, don't. Or when you get to, say, the King Library, work away from that straight shot down DeKalb Avenue, because when you cross the connector, when you come over the downtown connector and you get into the Georgia State University Grady Hospital area, there is major road construction, and I mean major. I mean, enough to anger everybody. Traditionally, those lanes are one in, one out, and a turn lane. Then when you get into Georgia State, it's, you have traffic, cement and things like that. But it's still basically 3 lanes until you get into the Georgia State campus, and it's 2. By then, the problem's gone. But in the stretch between Grady Hospital and the one-way street that comes from the Capitol and turns into Piedmont Avenue, 3 lanes turn into basically 1 3/4 because they've taken the middle lane, the turn lane, and turned it into their construction area. They're fixing, I guess, the pipes. Maybe it's infrastructure week with the city of Atlanta. I don't know. But coming in on DeKalb Avenue, literally, you're having to scale curbs and go into driveways coming out of parking decks on the Georgia State campus to work around them. And they have cops posted, so you're not able to really turn when you want to turn or go straight when you want to go straight. Until further notice, and I'll probably end up being the guinea pig for most of this, if you're coming from the eastern part of town, when you get to Grady Hospital, find another way to get to the stadium, because straight shot for that one block was 15 minutes of me sitting waiting because of construction and cops and turn lanes and all that. So when you get to Grady, find another way to get around it and get into the building. So public service announcement brought to you by me. Ropes. Miranchuk did not look good on the right. And it might have been out of necessity. And also, you're going to have situations because, remember, Shande was injured, so you didn't have a whole lot of presence on the left-hand side. Saba has played on the left. Miranchuk has played there, but not played. Saba, we know, has drifted off to the left and has switched sides in the past with whomever's on the left-hand side. He's helped, tilt the field and do those kinds of things. We've seen Saba on the left. It might have been just straight out of necessity. So having Miranchuk as a bit of an activator on the right-hand side to set up that left foot, as we saw with the goal. You see the positional gravity that Alexei Miranchuk brings. In only a few matches, you see how defenses are gravitating to AM59, who is 6'3". So everyone drifts toward Miranchuk to try and neutralize him. That creates opportunities for others. And the way that Miranchuk plays, instead of charging in 2-on-5 or charging in trying to get past defenders, considering that he's a guy that wants to pass and get it back, you have that kind of quick activity. People close, find your opening, find your open dude, get out of trouble, get the return, keep going. That's what you could anticipate coming forward with Miranchuk. But yeah, Pedro Amador. Let me get into Amador's numbers. Amador last night, like I said, we played the long version. I played the long version of the equalizer on purpose because of what we're seeing from Pedro Amador on the left as a left back. And that damn bandage over his left eye continues to just make me crazy. Continues to drive me nuts. So last night, Pedro Amador, a 7.9 on the left. Derek is 7.0, Stiana 7.2, Brooks is 7.1, Brad is 7, Tristan Muyumba is 6.3, Dax is 6.7, Bart is 7.1. We mentioned Saba's 7.3, Daniel Rios is 6.7, Miranchuk an 8.1. Pedro Amador with his 7.9 last night. Here's Pedro's numbers. 90 full minutes. Had the 1 assist, XA of 0.11. 1 clearance, 1 block, 4 picks, 1 tackle, 1 dribble pass, 1 clearance off the line. 3 of 5 on ground duels, 1 of 2 in the air. So 4 for 7 in his duels last night. Fouled twice, 63 touches, 40 of 44 passing at 91%. 1 key pass, 1 cross, 3 of 4 on long balls. That's what you got from Pedro Amador last night. And that clearance off the line, remember that clearance. And it was a clearance where, as he was looking, and you see him look over his shoulder, he looks over his shoulder and is on the line and clears it on the line, directing it to a teammate to start the break the other way, which eventually creates the equalizer to make it 2-2. And once again, Rob made a point in the post-game press conference where we were all discussing the goal. Rob made a point to dial it back to go to the beginning of the play and mention Pedro's effort for being there to clear the ball off the line to start the break and come back the other way. But yeah, Pedro Amador last night is 7.9. He was second on the grade scale, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore. Miranchuk an 8.1, and he scored. Pedro Amador a 7.9, and you heard all the different categories that Pedro affected play last night. By the way, Jay is 7.2, Edwin Mosqueda is 6, and Jamal is 6.6. Cohen, Cobb, Matt Edwards, Luis Abram, Tyler Wolf, Luke Brennan did not play. Shonday out with the foot. Quentin Westberg out with concussion protocol, and Ronald Hernandez out. If you have not, like on your lunch hour today, do me a favor. On your lunch hour today, go to soccerdownhere.net and check out the Ronald Hernandez piece. Very, very cool piece that was done with Maddie and Jason catching up with Ronald. Go to soccerdownhere.net and catch up the Ronald Hernandez piece. And Ropes would like to see Brennan over Mosqueda more often. I mean, a lot of folks, yeah. I mean, Edwin, like I said, Edwin runs like the newborn calf, and he also runs like he needs to go see a brake specialist, and doesn't know how to stop. But hey, you bring in Edwin, you have him run like hell, and I think last night, to me anyway, was exposure to why I don't think that Messi and friends win an MLS Cup. I still think it's Columbus. I still think Columbus comes out of the East. It's those last 30 minutes to me that show why I think it's going to be Columbus and not Messi and friends. Morning, Knicks. Like I said, morning, Knicks, morning, Abby. Abby says that she'd wish those who ask for player of the match would give a defensive player just choice one. So Abby will be back for the final 15 minutes. Michael Head, morning Hutch. Morning Hutch. Morning David. David took Marta. Let's see. Morning Michael. Morning David. You guys are still talking about Marta. Yeah, Knicks. And Amador did it all with a big ass bandage on his head. Big ass bandage on his head. He did. Like I said, that bandage over his left eye drives me damn nuts. Just because of what we talked about Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, probably, about why that bandage is there. And Pedro had to kind of sit there and he had to kind of mash it down so it didn't fall off, so he wouldn't have to leave and get more treatment on it and get the Revolutionary War bandage attached to it. The only thing missing would be the fife and the drum at that point. But that was, Saturday night. The only thing missing was the fife and the drum with Pedro Amador. And Emilio pointing out after 40-ish for the final 50 minutes, XG was .08. I mean, look, that might have been the case. You take it, you learn from it. If it was .08, you came out of there with a point. Teams around you didn't last night. You're still right in the middle of the pack trying to chase after the 9, and really, you got 4 matches left, and with Charlotte going, I don't know. Charlotte has not won. Charlotte has won once in the last 2 months. Once in the last 2 months. Keep an eye on all of that. Keep an eye on all of it. After Nino and after Niko, we do have to talk about Manchester City because once again, like I said, and we'll get into the Champions League coming up with Nino in just a little bit. But there's talk of like I said, we're in the 10-week tribunal of the trial of the century this week. For the next 10 weeks, we will be involved in the trial of the century this week involving Manchester City. There's talk of unprecedented punishments. Like I said, we'll get into because I'll circle back to it if we have time with Nino, but obviously we'll talk about it after Niko at 11:05 when we wrap up the show and go over everything else that's happened, catch you up on the news of yesterday. But yeah, there's talk of like unprecedented punishments. So we'll get into that. Hutch, for my money, both Miami and Columbus are the teams we want for serious rivalries right now. Aim high. Bring it. Bring it, bring it. Absolutely. Aim high. Think Air Force. And Michael's mentioning all the teams around. Let's see. So you mentioned where Atlanta is. Yeah, I mean, everybody from 9 to 15, 7 or 8 wins. But I mean, and going into the year, and you go up a little further, Charlotte's got 10, but they've had 10 for a while. NYC's got 11. Red Bulls have 10. Orlando's only got 12. And I think that speaks more to the competitive nature of the Eastern Conference in Major League Soccer more than anything else. And a man who knows about the Eastern Conference of Major League Soccer. He is properly hydrated, I believe. And it's time to go fully loaded with our man. We're going to go live to Peru. I love to say that, by the way. Fully loaded, brother.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are fully loaded. Nino Torres here with you guys. Soccer down here. Thank you for having me, John. I'm so pumped. I'm so energized, man. You know, because I'm back. Finally, I'm back. That was my first weekend on Gold TV last weekend. I got fully loaded with the Portuguese Top Flight Division. Every single game on the network from the Liga Portugal was on me. And I got all the love from all my Portuguese fans, man. I love them, man. I'm so pumped. I'm so happy.
All right. Today, man. We love having you as part of the Power Hour with you and our buddy Niko Moreno. I want to. You mentioned getting into. Well, all right, fine. All right, so we'll start. You mentioned Portugal. When we get to discuss Portugal with you on Gold TV, there is a team that you like to talk about because of what they're doing, which is something really special, with a dude that was in the championship and lighting it up at Coventry City, who is now lighting it up in Portugal and doing really good stuff for Sporting. It is the Victor Gyökeres universe, and we are all just watching it in orbit of the whole thing.
It is massive, man. I call him the Night King. For all of you Game of Thrones fans, you know when I mentioned the Night King, it's scary. This guy is scary, man. And if you, just to give you an idea, right? Just this season started, right? With Mbappe, and now you got Endrick. And guess who has more goals and more assists than those two guys?
I'm guessing it's Victor Gyökeres.
10 goals, 5 assists. 10 goals, 5 assists. And we are September, brother. September. Just picture what this guy's going to do in March. He's going to be 40, 20. He's going to be like a Shohei Ohtani of soccer, man. All right, going with a for the 50-50 thing. It's gonna go like that, buddy. It's gonna go like that. I'm telling you. By the way, I'm a big baseball fan. If you guys didn't know, I'm a big baseball fan. So,
But you bring up my boy Ohtani. I'm an Angels fan, and
all
so
right.
for me to see Shohei, well, all right. So baseball down here, which normally runs at like 3:15 on Wednesday mornings. He was a part. Yes, Ohtani and Trout, fantastic.
Right.
Love it. So Ohtani is going to be a free agent. Our owner is more than happy to just spend bad money over bad money, Artie Moreno. And so we're right there at the end of the trade window. And we're kind of hanging out in the wild card race at the time. They decide, no, we're going to hang on to Shohei Ohtani at the end of his contract and then not get anything for him. Literally, we're going to hang on to the guy. And then we're going to even add more people and not trade Ohtani, knowing he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year and he's probably going to walk, and he eventually did. And we knew he was going to go up the 5 freeway to go be with the Dodgers. And then, so what happens? Ohtani gets injured. The dudes that they bring in, they let some of them go in a salary dump 30 days later because we sucked and didn't get into the wild card. We're like 3-10 on the run in. And just blew it all up. Ohtani leaves, goes up the 5 to the Dodgers, and we're just kind of sitting there twiddling our thumbs. And the owner says, you know what? I'm going to sell. And Angels fans are like, halla freaking Luya. And then a month later, Moreno's like, nah, I think I'll hang on to the team. And we're all just sitting there going, dude.
No.
That's what, as an Angels fan with Ohtani, now that he's with the Dodgers and he's, 48 and 48 or whatever?
Yeah. He's so close to the 50-50, man. He's going to do it. Sorry, man. I didn't know you were a Rangers fan, man. I'm sorry, man.
It drives me crazy. So, so you end up with Victor Gyökeres being the Shohei Ohtani of the Portuguese league. Where do things stand right now in the standings after this past weekend of your calls on Goal TV?
The Sporting Club is 5-0. 5-0, man. All right, they're not taking any prisoners, man. They're just running over people. They're destroying teams on the road. All right. So out of these 5 games for Sporting, they play 3 games away from the ATLUTD, and they won anyways, man. And this is all right. I've been calling this league for 6 years now, right? And every year it was the 2 kings of Portugal. Porto and Benfica and Porto, trading championships. But then they come in the big 3, right? With Sporting, but Sporting hasn't had a championship years for 20 years. All right, so last championship was in 2002, and then they won 19 years later in 2021. But they won again last year. And they are on the verge, they are on route to win by, I want to say, a long distance on this championship. We got a podcast with the guys on Tuesday. I'm talking with a guy from representative from Sporting Club, one from Benfica, one for Porto, right? And the Sporting guy, he's always kind of nervous. Nino, don't say this. Don't say that we're gonna win, please, because what if we don't win? What happened last season, man? What did I tell you last season? In round 3, I was calling the games, and by round 3, I was like, all right, these guys, they're gonna win the championship. Don't say that, you're gonna jinx it, because he has a reason for that. Because over that 19-year span of without any titles, at least in seven seasons, they were leading, and they'll derail at the end of the season. I forgot how they say, how is it saying? They got a saying in Portugal, like Sporting for Christmas, Porto in February, and then Benfica end up winning the championship. I don't know how it works, but they know that Sporting Club always runs on gas at the end of the season. It's not the same. It's just a different era. And Sporting Club changed everything when they hired Ruben Amorim. back in 2019, 2020, during the pandemic. Yeah, the pandemic years when they signed Ruben Amorim. The guy changed the mentality of these teams. He's a coach that also loves to promote young talent. By the way, talking about young talent, Sporting Club is the youngest. They have the youngest roster. Also, 23.4 years average. 23. All right. Okay. So and they're leading, and they got this. I forgot how many goals they scored already. I think it's 19. At least 19 and 4. That's the 19 goals scored and 4 conceded. 2 conceded. Only twice in 5 games, man. So that's how good this team is, and they got that awesome start of the Champions League. But they got a tough group. They got to go with City. They got to go. Yeah, they got a tough group in the Champions League, man. But Sporting Club is the leading the revolution in Portugal.
Okay. Since you mentioned him, let's go over Champions League results so far, because we got another 6-pack coming up in a couple hours. So day 1, Celtic puts up a number on Slovan Bratislava, no shock. Dortmund put 3 up on Bruges just yesterday. Manchester City and Inter was a plus 405 for a draw. It was a goalless draw. Kevin De Bruyne injured, concerns especially with Arsenal coming up this weekend. PSG beats Girona as a favorite. Bologna and Shakhtar, goalless draw. I dig Shakhtar's Ukraine colors jerseys. I'm going to the poorhouse when I pick that up. And Sparta Prague beat Salzburg 3-0. Then day 1, Liverpool put 3 on AC Milan at Milan. Bayern put 9.
I watched that one.
Bayern puts 9 on Dinamo Zagreb. Real Madrid 3-1 over Stuttgart. Sporting 2-0 over Lille at home at a minus 192. Juve beat PSV 3-1. Aston Villa, Unai Emery, a minus 159. They got the win. So of those 2 match days, before we get into today, what has stuck through your head, including Sporting's 2-0 win?
I got this image of Endrick entering for Real Madrid, and I said that this kid is gonna be a bust, right? I said it, and probably I'm gonna eating my words at the end of the season. The kid he doesn't care, man. He is so fresh, and there's that. Do you see his goal? No,
I did not.
All right, this is a massive counterattack. He grabs the ball in his own box, runs for 65 yards. Has Mbappe on the left, has Vini on the right. And what are the kids does? Oh, no, I'm going to take it on my own. All right. Boom. Put it in the back of the net. And there's the image. You gotta watch him. And you got to search for Google it for the Mbappe reactions to Hendrick. Because Mbappe is like, give it to me. And then he sees him scoring. And Mbappe's like,
yep.
All right. Okay, kid. All right.
Got you, fam.
All right. I like it. I like that you take chances. And he's the Mbappe. All right. This guy is I want to say he is the next on the throne.
Okay.
Of soccer around the world.
All right.
He finally came to Casablanca. He's gonna win the Champions League. Well, finally. and then he's gonna go to the US, Canada, Mexico World Cup with that thirsty for revenge, like no other player on the planet.
Okay. And you dig this format. You don't it's like you could go into the group stage, huh?
I was totally against it because it was confusing, right? We got all these, you got to play 8 games and then the 4th and then the 4 left. And then but then you realize that it's just, you got to go all in on every single game. You don't save anything for later.
Yeah.
And that makes it more special. That makes it more competitive. That makes it more exciting to watch. Because if you play Real Madrid once, all right, like it happened seasons before, like when they play this team from Cyprus, right? FC Chipol, and ended up beating Real Madrid in the first leg, and then of course Real Madrid went in the second leg and destroyed them.
Yeah.
But what if Real Madrid didn't have that second chance, right? Now you don't. So you're gonna see more upsets all across the board under this new format, because there's no payback time.
Yeah.
There's no, I'm gonna say, oh, you beat me here, I wanna see you at my place. No. I beat you once, and I can say that I beat Real Madrid. I can say I beat Bayern Munich. I can say that I beat Manchester United. I can say that. And then the next one, and then the next one. It's just it's more fun. It's more exciting. It is.
And so I get it. Today is and now you've got 3 days worth of matchups, and then you'll end up throwing it against the Europa League and the Europa Conference League, and so you're going to have like 9,000 matches going on at the same time today. Red
So many.
Red Stars hosting Benfica. Benfica's a -108.
Come on, Eagles. Come on.
They got to take care of business, right?
All right. This guy in Benfica is crazy. They just signed him because Bruno Lage returned to Benfica. They firing Roger Smith after the 4th round. And by the way, Bruno Lage was the last one to win back-to-back titles in Portugal.
Yeah.
So they brought him back, and he signed this kid. Let me see if I can get his name right this time. It's Kevin Artur Koglu. It's a Turkish guy from Galatasaray. Came into the Premier League. First game, goal and assist. Dominated the scene. And that's exactly what Benfica needed. And that's the power that they need on top. They got Pavlidis, the goal scorer from AC Alkmaar. He scored 29 goals in 34 rounds last season for AC Alkmaar in the Eredivisie. He's kind of slow start, but I got faith in the big man for Benfica, and of course with Angelito Di Maria, with Prestiani, with Benjamin Rolaser. They got an Argentine path there for Benfica that could be interesting this season, man.
Feyenoord is a dog at home against Bayer Leverkusen. No surprise. That's -147. Atalanta is hosting Arsenal. Arsenal's -116. That one could be dicey. Your draws a +279, especially with Manchester City coming up this weekend for Mikel Arteta and Arsenal.
How much is Atalanta, John? How much is Atalanta?
In the composite, you throw all of your juice boxers together, it's a +332 to win outright.
I'm gonna take my chances in Atalanta.
Oh.
I'm gonna take my chances on Gasperini, Bobby.
Okay.
Right.
I
trust this guy, man. He's so smart. One of the smartest coaches in the planet, man. Gasperini. Yep.
All right. ATLUTD at home is a -130 hosting RB Leipzig. Brest, even money, hosting Sturm Graz at a +287. And Barca on the road, a -149 at Monaco. Monaco is a +383, and your draw is a +338.
No, Hansi Flick boys, they're gonna take it. He's getting this team rolling. He's taking Barcelona out of that winter sleep that had been for I don't know how long now, since Messi left, basically.
Yeah, yeah, and they're still trying to figure out how to make ends meet, and it's like the old cartoon character from the Popeye cartoon. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. You put tell you what, I'll sell my TV studio. I'll sell the naming rights to the stadium to Spotify and have a big Spotify logo right in the middle of my jersey. But yeah, no, that'll be cool. That's fantastic. I'll dig that. Just pay me now at pennies to the dollar so I can try and make ends meet, and we'll still try and not sign players. So keep an eye on Barcelona and FFP. I wonder how they'll make ends meet. And if we got Libertadores and Sudamericana, pick one.
Libertadores, yes sir. Tonight, Peñarol, please, Peñarol, baby, bring the good old days back. I want to see Peñarol and River Plate in the finals. That's what I want to see.
Ooh.
That's what I want to see. That's my soccer wish for the season. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but hey, if Peñarol beats Flamengo,
Flamengo is a minus.
Nobody's stopping. I'm going to put it like this.
Yeah.
If they get out of this series, Peñarol is going to win it. All right? Listen, Peñarol is going to win it if they need to pass the overpass Flamengo first. All right? Let's see what happens on this series. But if they beat Flamengo, I think we're going to enter a new era in Conmebol Sudamericana. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. We'll see what happens, man.
Flamengo's a minus 196 tonight. They're a minus 196. Peñarol, if you're all in on Peñarol is a plus 636 in the composite.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go crazy, man. I should get any beers before I put my bets, man.
Mm-hmm. Draws a plus 288. Next week before we draw tonight is a plus 288.
All right.
Then the other matchups before we get to shake hands once again a week from today. River Plate favored right now at home, and that is on Tuesday night. Tuesday night, River Plate favored at home, a minus 204 as Colo-Colo comes to visit. Wednesday, you're back-to-back. ATLUTD, minus 123 at home against Fluminense. Fluminense is a plus 325. Sao Paulo, a plus 150, hosting Botafogo and our boy Thiago Almada at a plus 196. Your draws a plus 212.
All right, I'll take Sao Paulo. I'll take Flu. That's what I take.
Okay. So all right. So you're going with the slight favorite in Sao Paulo, but it's still on the plus side. So you still can can come out with some coinage, and you're going with the big dog Fluminense on the road at ATLUTD.
Oh, heck yeah. They you know what? After what I saw, what I saw last night from Atlético Mineiro, they're having issues, man. They're having issues in that locker room. Hulk was walking out of the pitch, and then one of the players was recriminating, and then the other player from behind fought against this guy, and Hulk was talking to the other guy, and the aura, all right, the energy of that locker room, it doesn't give me good vibes.
Okay,
you know, when you're not together as a brotherhood, it's hard to advance and to achieve your goals, man.
Amen. Gold TVs, Nino Torres. We can say that. Gold TVs,
yes, sir.
Dropping by as we are fully loaded on the Power Hour here on Thursdays. Our buddy Niko Moreno set to join us in about 5 to 10 minutes. It's whenever Niko can get his second or third cup of coffee and his Rave Green mug and be ready to go. Sudamericana tonight. 2 games starting at the same time. So it's Atlético Paranaense favored at home on the plus side against Racing Club at a plus 118. Draw tonight is a plus 223. Racing Club a plus 234. Libertad Asunción hosting Cruzeiro. Cruzeiro slight favorite on the road. Libertad is a plus 196 at home. Draws a plus 186. Cruzeiro is a plus 166 in the composite.
I think on that one, I think it's gonna be a draw. I love Libertad, but I think they lack in that killing instinct. So I don't know if they. But you never know in Paraguay. When you go to Paraguay, anything could happen, especially with Libertad and Olimpia. They're hard to beat. They're really, really hard to beat in Paraguay. In Racing, the Colombians, those 2 Colombians with Juan Quintero, with Martinez, with Manavilla Martinez, that offense for Racing, I'll take Racing on that one.
Okay.
I'll take Racing on that one.
That's the dog at plus 234. Then once again, Tuesday night, Corinthians and Fortaleza. Fortaleza right now, slight favorite on the road at a plus 152. Corinthians a plus 170. On Tuesday night only, draws a plus 222. Wednesday, Independiente Medellin, a plus 173 at home against our boys from Lanús. Lanús a plus 158. Your draws a plus 220. So Lanús favored on the road at Independiente Medellin. Fortaleza, a road favorite on Tuesday night as well. You got some road. 3 of these 4 have road favorites attached.
Yeah. Of course, but the only one that is, I don't think it's going to be a favorite is for me. I think Corinthians is going to take it on that one.
Okay.
Corinthians is going to take it on that one. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that my Peruvian boy is back. Andre Carrillo came out of the freaking Saudi Arabia world. You know, he ran away from the money. He didn't run away. They ended his contract. That's the truth of the matter, right? But I just want to say like that because it sounds
good. Oh, yeah.
Right, you know. And but I'm so happy. I'm so happy he's playing now. And he didn't come to any other team. He came to Corinthians. All right, it's a big dog in Brazil. All right, you got Ramon Diaz there. You got Memphis Depay coming too. So I think Corinthians is could be a surprise. Could be in the finals. I put Corinthians in the finals for the Sudamericana, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I say our friends at Lanús because our buddy Marcelino Moreno, who was here at Atlanta United, is part of that roster at Lanús. And
they already won Sudamericana.
Yeah,
Lanús,
and so any chance we have to sit there and go, it's like, yeah, we're going to follow Botafogo because of our guy Thiago Almada. Yeah, we're going to look at Lanús because of our guy Marcelino Moreno. We're always going to drift into those kinds of things.
Yes.
All right, I'm looking at your shopping list of what you wished to discuss, and there's one thing here on the list. There's one thing here on the shopping list that we have yet to discuss. And I'm loosening up for it. I'm making sure that my ears are ready, that I'm ready to listen, that I'm ready to sit there and find out what's going on in your brain. So I'm looking at the shopping list. Libertadores, check.
Yeah.
Sudamericana, check. Champions, I love the new format, check. Jokeresh, and you got the 2 accent marks on the E in Jokeresh on the text, which I thought was very, very clever. And the Sporting CP Portugal Revolution. There's one thing left here on this shopping list that you sent me, and I'm getting ready for it because I'm gonna wind you up and let you go. And of course, my Universitario en route to a championship on their 100-year anniversary. I got bonus track from last night, fully loaded, baby. That's what he sends me.
Yes, sir. Because I got to call my Universitario Deportes last night. My first game back with the Liga Uno, and it was a massive match. It was a must-win victory for Universitario Deportes because their rivals, their arch rival Alianza Lima, was on top of the standings. But guess what happened earlier yesterday? They lost on the road on a late penalty. So we were okay. They lost. We're coming after you, baby. We are coming after you. You don't slip points when we are behind you. When we're breathing on your neck, you better bring your A game and stay focused 100% of time for every single game. Because the slightest hiccup, we're gonna come after you. All right. So we ended up winning 3-0 with authority. It was absolutely beautiful. And I gotta tell you this: last year we won the championship at their stadium. Right, and you know what they did? Did I tell you what they did? And all right, so we won the championship, right?
Yeah.
As soon as the final whistle, right, 5 seconds after the final whistle, they turned the lights off on the stadium.
Whoa!
So we cannot get our Olympic round around the stadium.
Wow.
They turned off the lights of the stadium.
They denied the victory lap.
Yes.
Wow.
So since then, they've been a joke, of course, right? It's a power outage, right? But we call in Spanish is el apagón, all right? And there's a song about el apagón, right? And that we Universitario fans embraced. And last night, I was calling the game. And I started hearing the song from the fans. So Here we go.
Oh, no, he's got it. That's fantastic. Jack it up for me. I'm just staring at the look on your face.
I threw the song out there, man, with the pass.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Crazy.
And just as important as you're discussing Universitario, did I notice behind you? Did I notice a studio audience behind you wandering around this morning? Did behind you on the floor? Did I notice a studio audience?
Oh yeah. He's here. He's always here. Where's here?
I was see. This is the first time that we will have seen, as he unplugs his camera, the studio audience that is there. He unplugged his camera. Hey, wait, here we go.
Oh,
all right. Wait,
go.
all right. So there you are. So you can go grab it. You can go grab the studio audience. That's perfectly fine. Go ahead and put your headset down. Yeah. Go ahead and put your headset down. We are dog friendly here. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Right there. I can hear you now.
Look at that.
Look at this guy.
Who is that?
It's Stuffy. I forgot. Next time I'm gonna get he got his Universitario gear too.
Oh, you know? And he's looking at you like, dude, why did you pick me up? I was sleeping.
Yeah, but he's fine. Like he's so cool because he stays quiet during my broadcast now. So like he always stays quiet. Right?
He's your producer. He's your on-site producer.
Yes.
Oh, he's like, can you put me back to bed now? It's like,
yes,
bruh, I'm done. Oh, that's fantastic. He's like, he picked me up. I was sleeping. He picked me up. Why did he do this to me? It's like, put me back down now. And so our buddy Alex Pacine says, "Hola, Perito. I love you. Just met you." So
thanks, man. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it, man.
You have absolute fans already. I'm trying to think of. You mentioned Liga 1 results. Universitario 3-0 over Sport Boys. Sport Boys, by the way, were a plus 1041 on the grid. Cienciano beat Sport Huancayo as a favorite at a minus 154. Comerciantes Unidos over Cesar Vallejo as a home dog. And you mentioned Grau and Alianza Lima on the 1-0. So the standings in Liga 1. After 11 matches, Universitario 24 points, Alianza Lima at 23, Sporting Cristal and Cusco at 21 points. And Melgar Cienciano at 19. Grau is 7th at 18. And then you have Tarma, Deportivo Garcilaso, Alianza, Sport Huancayo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So you're about a third of the way through your schedule, and you're calling your shot that your boys are going to go ahead and win the title, especially when Alianza Lima loses like they did to Grau, who is 4-6-1, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like, bruh, in the Clausura.
And they were one of the worst home teams. The Grau was horrible playing at home. And they were the Alianza. You know what's the problem? You know what? This is the thing why I really, I'm not going to say hate because I don't hate anybody. I really don't like the Alianza Lima fans. They're so obnoxious. Oh, God. They think that they're freaking Real Madrid. They haven't won a single game in Copa Libertadores for 10 years. And they're like, yeah, we're the kings of the hill. And like, boom, there you go.
When you say stuff like that, then that's when you get bit. Alianza Lima, by the way, they're on the road at Sport Boys this weekend. Actually, in 2 days. So on Saturday, they're the late game on Saturday. Alianza Lima is minus 161. Sport Boys are a plus 429. And Universitario gets to kind of watch next couple of days. They're going to watch everything else going on around them. Let's see. What else is on your mind as your beloved Columbus Crew have a match in hand and are a part of the street fight in the Eastern Conference last night. Hour number one, Messi and friends came into town, and the $13 million purchase for Atlanta United, Alexei Miranchuk from Atalanta, scored the equalizer, 2-2 draw in front of 60,000 plus downtown. I still maintain that it's nights like last night lean to me why Columbus Crew is the best team in Major League Soccer and will come out of the Eastern Conference and not Messi and friends.
Cucho, and Cucho we trust. In Cucho we trust, man. I'm telling you. Cucho Hernandez, I love him, and I really hope that they can win the title this year, man. And even when I said last year that Messi and company they were going to win it all, but you gotta take the you gotta remember he's human and he got injured. Mm-hmm. He got injured, and then when you get injured, there's nothing that you can do about it. You just gotta rest. And how many games he was out? Like a lot, like 4, right? How many games?
Messi was out for I think 13.
13 matches?
Yeah, he's out for 2 months. All comps. Yeah.
13. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, after he got after that large ankle that we saw at the end of Copa America, ever since then he's been recovering, and he had his played 90 on the weekend against Philly. Then he played 30 last night because it's 3 matches in a week for Messi and friends. They head to a Yankee Stadium to take on NYC, and they're the early game Saturday afternoon. So last night against Atlanta United, Suarez on the bench to start, Messi on the bench to start, and Jordi Alba on the bench to start. So it was a unique line. And Tata Martino was out on yellow card accumulation, so Jorge Tiller was on the touchline. So it was an interesting lineup. They got a 1 lead. Atlanta United came back to tie it at 1. Then, like 3 minutes later, off a deflection on a set piece, 2-1, and then Miranchuk scored with about 10 to go to tie it at 2, and the last 30 minutes was absolute chaos. You know what? It is, since we're talking MLS, it is that time. It is that time for the last half hour of Thursday, where we have the melding of minds. We have the Twitch pitch staring at this harmonic convergence of all of these different zones coming together. And as I stare in the green room, I see someone who is all business. He is in business attire today. He ain't wearing the lid. He might have the Rave Green mug and might be on cup of coffee number 3. We will check this out. But we have to roll the special open because that's what we have, because we are going to add to the discussion for the handoff our buddy Niko Moreno from Pulso Sports and the Soccer Bar. So special open, here we go. Street fight coming right at you. Two, three, four. The melding of minds and the handoff on Thursday. We were discussing Major League Soccer and Nino Torres' beloved Columbus Crew. We bring in Niko Moreno from Pulso Sports and the Soccer Bar to discuss everything. So I will put it to the table. Nino, to continue your education as to what's going on while you're focused in Portugal and Libertadores and Sudamericana and everything, Gold TV, question that you have for Niko Moreno on the handoff. What is your question, sir, about Major League Soccer?
Mr. Moreno, good morning. First off, all right. So what are your chances for your team this year? What are the chances for your Seattle Sounders?
Well, first of all, good morning. Nino, always a pleasure to have you join us, or well, to join John. I'm just here, just visiting, but always fantastic to have you. Yes, by the way, John, you're right on. This is cup number 3 of Joe, and I think you finally hit. You finally hit. I mean, I got here about midnight from the Sounders game. I had to watch some games because I always got to watch at least 90 minutes of at least 3 games. So it was a rough night. Got about 2 hours of sleep. But to your question, Nino, chances of, I'm guessing, getting a title or getting to a final, there aren't many. to be honest. This team yesterday proved what I've been saying here over the last couple of weeks, that there are times where results can be outliers. There are times that results can hide some of the realities of a team. And last night was part of it, right? You played a team that's eliminated, the worst team in MLS, if you will, and you are in command. 2-0, a brace from Jordan Morris. You think that you have the game under control, but in a combination of missed opportunities, a team that I felt pulled their foot off the gas, and substitutions by Brian Smetzer that I think told the team, let's hold the ball, let's just hold on to this score. It did not go their way, because all it took was you were already in a game where you started off in the wrong foot. Quakes get the first goal, then you get the brace, so you kind of match it up. You're up 2-1. They were the better team in the first 45, but then after that, you just one goal from an equalizer, so you need to finish the game, and that was never intended in that second half. I think that they had plenty of opportunities, and I don't want to put it all out on Brian. Josh Atencio, he has a play where he, from midfield, goes all the way down coast to coast to the other side, final third, makes a wrong decision. Jordan Morris gets a one-on-one against the goalkeeper, misses this. There was so many missed opportunities by the individuals on the field, but Brian needs to do a little more. Raul Ruiz was sitting on the bench, waiting to come on. In the post-conference, Brian Smetzer said, where were the experienced guys that could have made this game, put it away, held the ball, all these things. Well, you had experience on the bench, and you decided not to use it. You brought in Manungu and Reed Baker-Whiten, which I understand why. You wanted speed, you wanted velocity. He talked about transition moments, which they did have, but there are times where you have to make substitutions early enough to kill the game and not to just manage it and hold it. And that's why at the end of the game, the worst team in the Western Conference ends up tying the game and stealing 2 points that, instead of putting you third in the Western Conference, now have you at fifth.
Now we're still doing the playoffs of 1 versus 8. Is that 2 versus? Is that how it goes in the playoffs?
We've added the 8-9. There's an
8-9, right?
Yeah, there's an 8-9 play-in now, and then after that, it's survivor of the 8-9 gets the one 7-2, 6-3, 3-6, 4, 5, and 5-4. Yeah.
So technically, you're gonna go against the Rapids if everything stands as it is now, right?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. So all in all, I just don't think this team has enough to compete against the top teams of the Western Conference. I'll be blunt, and I'll be honestly, I don't know how you call it.
Come on.
I don't want to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, right? So that's just the reality of it. And the team's DP, which is Pedro La Vega, you saw him come in yesterday, but he looked in a different page. He just didn't seem to mold with the rest of the team. He's so eager to show the team and the fans what he can do, because he's been hindered by injuries, that there was a couple of times where he got the ball, he could have settled it, driven towards the 18, made a pass, made a better shot, but he just took a first shot trying to make a banger because he's just so eager to try to make a change. So there's just so many components for Seattle that are not there, that I just don't think that they have a chance. If I have to put it, maybe 15% chance that they put it all together, everything comes together, and they make a run and are in the final. But I just don't see it.
All right. Quick promo. What are you doing on Gold TV this weekend, Nino?
We do the Primera Liga, go with the big three, going with Porto, Benfica, Sporting. And it's going to be a massive, massive game this weekend in the Primera Liga. It's going to be, Victoria Guimaraes, for undefeated. You're going to host Porto. and then they're gonna get forward to the first loss of the season. It's gonna be a street fight, man. It's gonna be a street fight, that one. That goes on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So stay tuned for that game, man. That's the game of the weekend, man.
What he said at Gold TV, our buddy Nino Torres, here for the first half hour, the Power Hour. We have been fully loaded, my friend. As always, great to catch up with you. Save the pipes, hang out with the Perito, and we will see you again next week unless you want to crash the party anytime you want.
All right, guys. See you. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. That's the handoff, and now it's time to catch up. So you said cup number 3. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that is cup number 3, and it's finally hitting, man. Right before I jumped on, I was still kind of trying to figure it out, but now I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to get it back.
Obviously, we will end with cliffhanger as we always do. But last night, I saved the Western Conference discussion for when you get to come by because of the chaos that is a different kind of chaos in the West than it is in the East. Western Conference matchups last night. Houston at Hell in a Shell tied Vancouver 1-1. Kansas City, I think, with the shock of the night, beating Colorado 4-1 at Children's Mercy. Cincinnati on the road knocking the Loons out 2-1. And then you end up with Salt Lake, who's been trying to find themselves, when you don't have Diego Gomez anymore. And they did last night at home at Rio Tinto against Dallas 3-2. LAFC and Austin tie at 1 on the road. But if you look at Sebastian Driussi's social medias, he might be over the whole thing in Austin. You mentioned Seattle and San Jose. That should have been 3 points for you, and it only ended up being 1. I can just imagine what sports talk is going to be outside of us this morning. And then the chaos of Portland and Los Angeles. Dylan Butler was on yesterday from MLSsoccer.com. He said it was going to be a 6-5 banger. Unfortunately, the juice boxes only went up to 5.5, and it was a 4-figure number. And if you went 5.5, if you went over on 5.5, you came out on the juice boxes pretty sexy because Portland put 4 on LA. It was chaotic, but it didn't seem like it was going to be, like it was going to be close at times, like it was at 3-2, and then Portland gets a 1 from Mora late to go 4-2. With the Western Conference, with what happened last night, what do you think?
First of all, I mean, that was a Mexican brawl, and you knew that coming in. I mean, that was like Morales Barrera, like Pac-Man Marquez, like it was going to be all out because they're 2 offensive squads, right? I mean, you can say what you want about the Timbers back line and the deficiencies defensively, but boy, do they have weapons on the offensive side, and so do LA. So that was a great game. That's one of the ones that kept me up last night watching 90 minutes of it, and you could just see it, right? So when I look at the standings, man, I just think that it's a good reflection of what's gone on for the most part. I feel like Seattle's still above where they really should be. I think that RSL now has a chance to win the Western Conference. LAFC dropping points. LAFC they've struggled, and I've seen it consistently now. They've went back to a 4-man back line, and I'm not sure it's because of the Murillo injury. And I feel like they're at their best when they're playing with those 3 monsters in the back. Not sure if there's also a little bit of exhausting players and a lot of like the grind of the entirety of the season. Buanga, Kike Oliveira, all these guys that were at a really high level at one point, right now they're just not as high, and they've really struggled with that. They really need those guys to be on point. So I think RSL last night, they found it without Carlos Gomez finally. They've struggled to do that. Julio was the man. I mean, he did everything, outrunning defenders, doing the Orellano type of shots from half field, putting it together. No Chicho, right? And you still get a good result against a good team that really challenged you, because Dallas did that. So I think RSL can really get up there. So I think still from 1 to 4, that's what you're going to get. It doesn't matter how those 4 move. I think that those 4 teams that you see right now, Galaxy, RSL, LAFC, and Colorado, those are going to fight those 4 spots until the end of the season. I don't see anybody below that getting above. I see Seattle maybe struggling. We'll see what happens with Houston. That's their next game, right? And they have a bye week, so teams are going to be able to get some points on them. So in 10 days, they'll face Houston directly. Can Ache be back by then? Because you know how much Houston misses that guy. So I just think that we'll see a lot of movement. Seattle still get in. I have no doubt Seattle still get in. But I think Portland and Houston are going to be above the Seattle Sounders by the end of the season.
I mean, and we're looking at the same thing in the Eastern Conference, although it's a little lower, where traditionally you see the purple team on the slow fade. Once Oscar Pareja realizes, oh, I'm in the playoffs now, then you just kind of see, traditionally you would see them kind of go, eh. Charlotte is the one that is really doing that, and that angle is pretty steep for Charlotte right now with 5 matches to go in the regular season. They're in the 7. They've only won once in the last 2 months. And if it wasn't for Christian Kalina, I think they'd be a lot worse. But they're the ones that are doing the fade, and they're drawing Toronto into the 7. Philly and DC and Atlanta and Nashville and Montreal, everybody who is 7 teams, 5 points from 9 to 15, they hit a hot streak. They're drawing themselves up close. I think Charlotte's the team to look at in the home stretch here and kind of sit there and go, I don't know, man.
First of all, how are we still talking about Nashville? I mean, BJ Callahan just came and figured it out. I mean, what is going on? I thought Nashville was a team that we would not worry about for the rest of the season. Yeah. And they found some fire. They found it just recently. So a couple of wins back to back. I think Orlando, they also have figured it out. And that team is very talented. And if they continue to play, Ojeda in that 10 position just seems to be unreal. Facundo Torres is very confident, whether it's Enriquez or whether it's Duncan. They have some really good strikers and finishers up top. So that's going to be interesting. But I give you, and I do buy in on Charlotte just not having enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes your goalkeeper can only do so much. Defensive presence can only do so much. And when you can challenge teams and you can get back from at least a 1-0 deficit, it's just very hard to do. And I just don't think they have enough creative players to generate enough to just be able to come back from a game, whether it's a 1-0 deficit, 2-0 deficit, and in MLS, you need that from time to time. So I'll give you that. I still believe in Atlanta. I still think DC United's gonna have something to say. So we'll see. But I do see Charlotte being the team that comes off. Toronto, man, Toronto's also hard to figure out sometimes because I feel like they have the components to be a tough playoff team, but they got to get there first. And their schedule is not easy necessarily. I like a lot of the talent. I like a lot of the pieces because they end up playing. They finished the season with Miami. They play Red Bulls. Chicago's an easy one. But there's just some games there, Colorado, where things can get complicated for Toronto. But I'm with you. I think Charlotte could be the team that comes off the easiest.
And 3 out of 4 in that Toronto mess because remember they only have one less. They got one less match than everybody else. So 3 of those mentioned in the run-in, it's going to be pretty tough.
That's right.
We were having a philosophical argument on the show this week. Obviously, here people are frustrated about the state of things and, wanting more players in the transfer window, even though you end up with Amador and Miranchuk. You're still looking for that winger. You're still looking for the starting 9. You're looking for a head coach. You're looking for a technical director, GM, whatever you want to call it. And there was frustration here in the market about fans throwing their hands up basically, and it's just like, look, I just don't even go into the playoffs, don't make it in, play the kids, those kinds of things. Are you seeing in the Western Conference, not necessarily in Seattle because Brian's already playing the kids because you mentioned Reed Baker-Whiting and Paul Rothrock getting minutes and things like that. Are you seeing the teams that are kind of hovering toward the playoff bar in the Western Conference? Are you sensing the same kind of frustration from them? Or when you interact with other fan bases, are you seeing fans that want to sit there and it's like, yeah, I mean, I want to push into the playoffs. I want to see where we can go. Or are you seeing fans that are apathetic with those teams right there on the edge? It's just like, nah, we'll go ahead and we'll work on what's wrong with us, and we'll get ready for next season. What do you see?
Yeah, the two families that I see the most frustrated are ones that I think we saw coming, and I told you they were going to be a headache all season, which is Minnesota.
Yeah.
And those fans that they want just radical changes, and they want things to just get figured out. And even if they do have the coach for the future, they feel like the future in terms of players is just not there, right? They don't have that. They don't have enough of the new DPs to know where they're going. There are questions about Pookie, and there's questions about the style of play. So those are the fan bases that I feel like maybe are in that. Let's just, if we don't make it, maybe it'll be good for us to just reset, restart it, and get going. In Austin fans as well, they have been fed up for a very long time. You mentioned DeRusi. We go back to Fagundes and the problems that they had with him and how much the fan base loved them. There's many that have been calling for the head coach for a very long time, and they haven't got that. So that could be another team that they would rather perhaps just not make that push at the end of the season, be eliminated, and then that's going to create what everybody's been looking for, which is changes from the top all the way to the bottom.
Okay, it's cliffhanger time, and we know what that means. This is where we sit there and look at our buddy Niko's juice boxes and figure out what he wants to do with them, in addition to his cups of coffee, and all weekend long. And we get an early start, and it's an intriguing one on Saturday. Messi and friends on the road to Yankee Stadium to take on NYC. It's a 2:00 start in Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Slight underdog, Messi and friends, after what happened last night. NYC's favored at a plus 147. I'm just going to run through games, and you just start talking about them when you want to talk about something.
Yeah, what are the numbers on Inter Miami again?
Plus 160. They are the road dog.
See, that's a tough one. Simply because New York City FC gets blown out, but Inter Miami got pushed to the limit by Atlanta, and they have so many injuries, specifically in that back line. Ian Frey seems like he cannot go anymore. Christoph came off because he was done. I don't know if it was a cramp or he pulled something. Wujad at some point was on the ground holding his knee. I mean, there's a lot of components there where, maybe New York City FC does have a little bit of that edge. What are the goals on that? Maybe I'm more interested on the goals.
Okay, so let's check the goals on it and see where we are currently. Let's see, the over-under. Seriously, yeah, man, last night, the over-under at 5.5 for Portland and LAG was like plus 2,000. I mean, it was sick. It doesn't change until 3. 2.5 is 150, minus 154. 3 is a plus side at 106. 3.5 is a plus 160. So if you want to say 2-1, you could get that at a plus 106. If you want to go higher, then you're looking 3.5 at plus 160.
Yeah, I'll probably go 3.5. Okay. 3.5 I feel comfortable with. I think that could be a minimum for that game. In Miami, regardless of what's going on in the back end, you can tell and you can see how they were able to expose Atlanta a couple of times yesterday, but they were also exposed at times. I mean, if it's not because Mosquera cannot finish in front of goal, Atlanta probably wins that game 3-2. I mean, that breakaway Mosquera had on that right side, I mean, yes, obviously credit to the goalkeeper, but you should finish that. So I think this one could be 3.5 at the very least. I'll take that.
All right. Charlotte on the minus side hosting the Revs at minus 147. CF Montreal plus 119 hosting Chicago Fire to plus 206. Crew and the purple team, 7:30, so 7:40 start. Crew a minus 133. Purple team a plus 321. Your draw is a plus 303.
Wow. Wow. Man, I don't know if I have the guts to take Orlando against Columbus, but that is tempting, very tempting for sure. What are the goals on that one?
See, when you weren't going to pick a side, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, he's looking at a number. He is absolutely looking at a number.
Yeah.
All right, so goals, we'll start at 2.5. 2.5 a minus 175. 3 is a minus 109. 3.5 is a plus. Is 3.5 is a plus 141.
Ugh, jeez, man.
Mm-hmm.
So what's 4? Does it go that high? 4.5?
4.5 is plus 323.
Ugh, no. There's a reason why that's so high. Yeah. If I had to take on that, I probably do the 3.5 maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a tough one. I think I would love to take Orlando City, but they are so hard to figure out. And although they have looked a lot better, Columbus is Columbus, and I'm not betting against Columbus.
All right, so I'm going to save Red Bulls and Atlanta United and Seattle and what you're up to. What you're off, aren't you? You don't have a.
Yeah, we're off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
we got a bye week.
Okay, so I'll save Red Bulls in Atlanta for last. Copa Tejas, Houston favored on the road at Q2 at a plus 150, taking on Austin FC. FC Dallas, a dog at home, taking on LAFC, who's probably going to come in mad at a plus 114. FC Dallas, a plus 209. Nashville, a big home dog against FC Cincinnati. No real surprise at a plus 189. FC Cincinnati's a plus 137. Sporting on the minus side, minus 106, hosting the Loons at a plus 248. Rapids, minus 135, hosting Toronto at plus 322. RSL, minus 127, Portland a plus 278. Galaxy, minus 118, hosting Vancouver at plus 273. And San Jose in all caps. Juice Boxers were like, put a blanket over that one. Within the margin of error, in and around plus 150. Sunday game, Philly and DC. Philly is minus 118. DC coming to town at a plus 266. What sticks in your head?
That Real Salt Lake Portland, man. I don't know why he's calling my name. RSL, as much as they showed us last night that they have the business and they can do it, if they play as open as they did Dallas and they take that right to Portland will give them hell. So let me get the goals, but I'm going to take Portland regardless of. I think Portland, it's an interesting one. I think that they match up well against RSL. So yeah, let me get Portland, but let me see the goals, because I would be willing to go 4.5 on that one.
Ooh, 4.5, a plus 221.
Hey man, give me that double down, man. Love that. I like to see it. I don't know why you call my name, and sometimes I just got to go with the gut. That's an interesting one. But that's probably the one that really sticks out for me.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there are a lot of teams that are favored at home, and there's some lopsided matchups that really don't have any bearing on the playoff picture. 4.5 plus 221 in that matchup. So it was calling out. The siren song was there at a plus 221.
Yeah, man. I just see it, man. Look, Portland heating up. Going into the playoffs, I think that it could be a real dark horse. If you're not thinking that Portland is a team that is going to give you problems, they're going to end up getting you out of the playoffs. I go back to that Seattle Portland game where Phil Neville decided to just keep his fullbacks home and just play a little bit more cautiously. And then that was without two main players, obviously. No Cabecita, and I don't think no Evander in that one. So even then, they were able to really kind of change it up a little bit. So I feel like going into the playoffs, Phil will be able to do enough adjustments to just ease up the issues in the back end, and then just let those monsters up top do their thing. Evander is hot. I think it was 13 goals already. Mosquera looks really, really comfortable, really good. Felipe Mora, I think he should be called up by Chile. So, man, I think Portland is going to be a problem.
All right. The one that called out to me, as you were talking siren songs and totals, LAG in Vancouver. 3.5 is a plus 111. 4 is a plus 185. 4.5 is a plus 246. I like, just as a little one, I like the 3.5 in LAG in Vancouver. I'm thinking some goals can be had there. but I'm traditionally a chicken, so I'm only going to go up to the 3.5 when it comes to LAG and the Whitecaps.
Yeah, what'd you say was the 4.5 on that one?
Well, hang on. All right, let me go back. All right, so LAG in Vancouver, the 4.5 on LAG in Vancouver is a plus 246.
I'd be willing to go 4.5 in that one myself.
Okay.
I really would. That could be a very open-ended game. We know what LA Galaxy can do. They fell short against Portland. They're gonna want to come out there and just give it all to Vancouver. If Vancouver is needed of points, they're not fearful to just push up those wing backs. So yeah, that could be a little bit of a battle right there. Yeah.
Last one on the board for us, Red Bulls minus 145, Atlanta United on the road at a plus 351. Your draw at Red Bull Arena, plus 307. What do you think?
351 for Atlanta?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be willing to take it. Look, Red Bulls is another team that I felt like had they brought in one more piece in the summer window, we'd probably be talking about a really, really good team. But they struggle in the offensive end. They're very sporadic there. Sometimes they can give you what you got. And I think against Atlanta, you need to force Atlanta to defend, and you need to push back, just like Miami did last night. And I don't know if Red Bulls are going to be willing to do that. I mean, they lost to Chicago, for Christ's sakes, 2-1. So I really do think that Atlanta can take the momentum from a very well-fought game against Inter Miami and bring it against Red Bulls and get a result.
Soccer Bar and Pulso Sports, what do we need to know?
Soccer Bar today was going to be delayed all the way till 11 o'clock Pacific, as we are working on getting a couple of things going. We will have Hernan Lopez, who talked to me after the frustrating 2-2 draw for Seattle, but won the left that San Jose locker room very happy. Despite being eliminated, he tells me we're playing for positions. We're playing to show everybody that we're a good collective unit. So that's an interesting interview there that we'll have in Soccer Bar here at 11 o'clock Pacific. And in Pulso Sports, we will have, not just yet, but we will end up having by Saturday something to hear from the Sounders after this frustrating loss. You can, though, catch the post-game conference with Brad Smetzer, where essentially he does take a lot of the blame for what happened yesterday. I asked him directly, when you have a game that essentially you could kill, that you've been controlling, how much of that falls on you and not the players? And he took full responsibility, took accountability for it. So go ahead and check that out at Pulso Sport as well.
What you said. As always, my friend, great to have you here on your Thursdays with Niko and your third cup of coffee. Enjoy your Rave Green. The content's inside the Rave Green. We will catch up with you next week, my friend. Love you, and be safe.
Thank you, boss. Take it easy.
All right, that's Niko Moreno. And so he's going to go have coffee, and he's going to continue to drink coffee. And, boy, you want to talk about something at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern, where somebody's really going to be on the coffee run? Definitely. If you want to catch up with Niko and the programming over at Soccer Bar and Pulso Sports, please do. All right, so news of the AM, and so like I said, we're in the plus zone considering that technology did not cooperate with us this morning until 9:15 Eastern. So we are still going because we got news to talk about. News, gossip, rumor, and innuendo. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Okay, from our friends at the Telegraph. It is the notion that Manchester City, Ben Rumsby over at the Telegraph, could be expelled from all competitions, not just the Premier League. According to Rumsby, rules governing the FA Cup, the Gummy Bear Cup, the Champions League, and the Club World Cup suggest that City could be banned there as well. Rumsby says it can be revealed that City would be at risk of being expelled from both FA Cup and Gummy Bear. No certainty that they would be able to continue in the play in the Champions League or the Club World Cup either. At the so-called trial of the century this week, Premier League rivals do not believe a one-off points deduction would be a sufficient punishment if Manchester City's found guilty of the vast majority of offenses they stand accused of committing. Expulsion would satisfy those calling for a harsher sanction, but would also risk throwing English football into chaos and could lead to its 4-time defending champs continuing to play FA Cup, Gummy Bear Cup, Champions League. Rumsby then comes in with a transitional element to continue this particular thought pattern. One more time. Rumsby says, the rules of the 2 domestic cup competitions do raise the prospect of City's exile from the game being extended beyond the Premier League. Clause 31 of the FA Cup rules, for example, quote, where a club has been admitted to participate in the competition but is then removed from the league in which it competes or its league fixtures are suspended, the Professional Game Board may remove the club from the competition. The PGB is made up of reps of the Premier League and the EFL. EFL Cup rules, Gummy Bear Cup, basically. Meanwhile, define participating clubs as, quote, each member from time to time of the league and each member from time to time of the Premier League. Rules governing the Champions League appear to be more complex, with teams requiring a UEFA club license to play in UEFA competitions. UEFA, the FA, and the Prem all have roles in the administration of such licenses, and the Telegraph has been unable to ascertain whether expulsion from a domestic league could be grounds for withdrawal. Similarly, detailed regulations governing FIFA's expanded Club World Cup do not appear to be publicly available. It's almost like the Club World Cup is like the ACC and the deed of gift. However, if City are expelled from all domestic football, it could make it very difficult for them to continue to play in Champions League and Club World Cup, given the long gaps they would face between competitive fixtures. Prospect of them winning those competitions at the end of a season in which they are thrown out of the Premier League and potentially other competitions would also rankle with rival clubs and supporters. Ooh, boy. Could you imagine what the Gallagher brothers would be saying about something like that? Leicester City. Leicester City and Steve Cooper, he's hot. Sam Wallace. And this is the headline. Steve Cooper accuses PGMOL of using, quote, false images to cover up a VAR blunder. Controversy occurred when Crystal Palace forward Mateta was initially ruled to be offside for what turned out to be his first goal in the draw. Steve Cooper has accused VAR of using, quote, false images to cover up its awful human error, his words, after overturning the on-field offside decision for Jean-Philippe Mateta's goal against Crystal Palace on Saturday. That was the first goal in the 2-0. It was 2-0 at the time. It was the first goal in a 2-goal comeback 2-2 draw. The club told PGMOL, the referees organization, that they had chosen the wrong frame for the kick point, the moment at which the ball was played to Mateta, while referee Tony Harrington stuck to the on-field decision to rule the goal offside along with his assistants. VAR Andy Madley ruled it onside. Leicester met on Monday with Martin Atkinson, the select Group 1 manager for the top referees, to register their concerns with PGMOL, and no resolution was reached. So basically, it sounds like Leicester went to the PGMOL headquarters, talked to their general manager, let's have a conversation, and then nothing happened after that. Leicester's case was that when Tyreek Mitchell crossed the ball, Mateta was offside. Leicester say the subsequent frame in which their fullback, James Justin, extended his leg to block the cross was the one used erroneously by VAR as the crucial kick point. Today in his press conference, Steve Cooper, quote, it was an awful human error. It's been hidden in the media that has been as disappointing as the error itself. We've seen the images that show he was clearly offside, but they froze it at the wrong time. Everything that has been seen has been a false image. We showed the Premier League that they used the wrong image. We had a massive error go against us. We don't want it to go under the radar because that's not fair to players or supporters. Errors like that shouldn't happen. That's why we're changing to semi-automated offside. We felt very let down by it. Need to stand up for the club and tell the Premier League what we thought. We asked them to explain the decision, and it confirmed they were wrong in terms of when they stopped the game. It's not been near the media. Everything you've seen on Match of the Day or Sky was wrong. We showed PGMOL that, but they've not come back to us since. PGMOL says it considers the decision made by VAR to have been correct. It says that Howard Webb was not available to meet with Lester on Monday because he was attending a conference in the morning, as well as filming his television segment on Sky Monday night. So Lester's hot. Footballers are thinking about going on strike. Remember, we discussed what Rodri was thinking about and what Allison was talking about with the expanded schedules and everything. Now, footballers could go on strike and still play for their clubs. Martin Odegaard out for the foreseeable future, in quotation marks, is the major injury blow to Arsenal. Might be a couple of months. So we'll see what's going on there. Like we mentioned, Kevin De Bruyne injured, and we have to keep an eye on that leading into the Arsenal match on the weekend. And there's one other story. Okay, so the EFL, there's two other stories. Matt Hughes at The Guardian. The EFL wants to charge Leicester with financial rules breach if they're relegated. And remember that while you're in the Premier League, you can have for profit and sustainability, you can lose £105 million over a 3-year period. Leicester is up on charges in a breach. EFL wants to charge Leicester over the alleged breach of PSR that the Premier League was blocked from pursuing if Leicester is in fact relegated this year. EFL is understood to be seeking legal advice after an independent commission ruled the Premier League had no jurisdiction to charge Leicester for overspending in the 22-23 campaign. The legal team argued after relegation last year they were not a Premier League club when they submitted their accounts for 22-23. Club had been charged with a £24.4 million breach of the £105 million loss. Based on the punishments given to Everton and Forest, it would have resulted in a deduction of up to 7 points if they had been found guilty. So the EFL will now argue, if Leicester is in fact relegated, that they can impose sanctions for that cycle because despite having competed in the Premier League for all 3 years, they were officially in the Championship when their accounts were submitted. Leicester's permitted losses reduced to $83 million because of the EFL spending limit. So obviously the losses in the Premier League are at 105 because they're the Premier League. And because the Championship is the Championship, it's $83 million. And so the EFL might chase after them for having lost more than $83 million in a 3-year window period. So Leicester have to submit their accounts for the 23-24 season by the end of the calendar year. They recorded pre-tax losses of $92.5 and $90 million in 22 and 23 before the Premier League's deductions for infrastructure spending, but remain confident of avoiding a breach. So keep an eye on that. Unless Leicester turns a massive profit in that third year, if I'm understanding this correctly, you've got to turn like £100 million profit in year 3. Otherwise, you're in violation of the EFL's version of profit and sustainability. So that's why they're thinking that they might be able to take Leicester to court if they're relegated. Did you get all that? There's a test later on. I saw this story, and Jessica Charman immediately texted me back, and the words that she used, and I hope that I'm not out of school by saying this. She said that her heart hurt, and it's about Leicester. It's about Reading. Rob Couhig's takeover has apparently collapsed, so we're back where we were. Ben Fisher at The Guardian, the former Wickham owner, wanted to buy the League One club, and we all know that Dai Young, the Reading owner, doesn't need to be an owner. He needs to sell. He wants to sell. It's kind of like a Mike Ashley situation. It's like you keep moving the bar. And so now Rob Couhig's prospective deal to buy Reading has collapsed. He satisfied the EFL's owners and directors test, but Reading's owner, Dai Young, failed to complete a deal to sell. The immediate future will be funded by money generated from the sell-on clause in the deal that took Michael Olise to Bayern Munich from Crystal Palace. Palace paid Reading $8 million for the midfielder in 2021. We have all of the point deductions in the past. Couhig had invested at least £5 million to meet monthly bills and wages. Reading say that Couhig has been paid back. He attended matches, wanted to revive the club. Reading supporters continue to protest against Dai Young. Club says Young remains committed to the sale of Reading, and provisions are in place to fund the club until a transaction is completed. Coig and his business partner, Todd Troclair, expected to complete a deal by the end of July, but a complex purchase, according to The Guardian, encompassing laws in multiple countries, proved protracted. Coig struck a basic agreement on terms in June, wanted to bring in former Wickham captain Joe Jacobson as sporting director. Coig spent transfer deadline day at Reading, wanted to sign at least 3 players, but he could only get 1 because it was a loan deal, and Leicester is on an EFL embargo that prevents them from paying fees for players. Looks like, according to the math, Reading might make about £3.6 million on the £50 million transfer of Olise. It's supposed to be paid in installments, one this year, another one in January. The annual wage bill at Reading is understood to be about £5 million, and so if you pay 1.8 now and then 1.8 after the first of the year, it'll be a good start after the first of the year, but you got to make it to the end of the year. Recent transfer windows, they've sold homegrown youngsters to fund the day-to-day running of the club. And remember, Reading's financial difficulties meant that the women's side, a women's Super League team until a year and a half ago, they had to pull out from the championship. They're now in the 5th tier. So if you could keep an eye out and an ear out and give your best thoughts and vibes to Jess and everything that is going through, everything that she and her fellow Reading fans are going through, it sucks. Absolutely sucks that she's going through that right now. Reminder real quick that tonight, 7 o'clock pregame, 7:33 kick, Atlanta United 2, Crown Legacy here on the network. I'll have the call for you on that one. We're going to hear from Steve Cook. And it was a deep conversation that we're going to play a little bit in the A block. We'll have the highlights from all the chaos that happened against Huntsville City Football Club. We'll hear from Steve Cook not once but twice. Get you ready for what's going on. Busy night in MLS Next Pro. We'll get into that in just a little bit. So let's see if there's anything else in the world of football. Oh, here we go. Like I said, just checking to see if there's anything going on, and I'm checking all of the papers, as Will Patton said in Remember the Titans. And let's see, all of the Manchester City talk that we discussed. Gary O'Neill rules the same problems as Wolves have exited the Carabao Cup at Brighton. He wants to bring in more players. Wolves are like, no, we're cool. Man City in women's soccer, Man City failed to submit a visa application for Bunny Shaw ahead of their matchup against Paris FC. Manchester City did, in fact, beat Paris FC fairly well, despite missing Bunny Shaw with that visa issue. So keep an eye on that as everything rolls forward on the women's side of things. A lot of Everton out in penalties in the Gummy Bear Cup. So intriguing to say the very least in all of this. Casemiro is linked to Turkey, and that we know. All right, so gossip, rumor, and innuendo. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Yes, Abby, the home finale, Tuesday the 24th against Inter Miami. So Messi and Friends 2, Tuesday the 24th. So 5 days from now, the home regular season finale. And that'll be on the network. Jason and Maddie will have that call for you. And that will be a 7:30 kick. So 7 o'clock pregame, 7:33 kick for Atlanta United 2 and Inter Miami CF 2, Messi and Friends 2, the last regular season home match of the season for Atlanta United 2. They are on the road at Crown Legacy. Then they're back home for Messi and Friends 2. Then the last day of the regular season, they're Sunday in Chester, Pennsylvania, after the first teams play on Saturday. You might have some folks that are hanging around for Philadelphia Union 2's match against Atlanta United 2. That's Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock on the 29th, so 2:30 pregame for Atlanta United 2 and for Philadelphia Union 2, then on the 29th. But tonight, 7 o'clock pregame, 7:33 kick, Atlanta United 2 at Crown Legacy in the Eastern Conference. Once again, we'll get into the stats and the standings in a bit. Chelsea open to letting Mykhailo Mudryk leave the club in January. Marseille interested in the 23-year-old. Remember, it was like a $64 million price tag. Signed him to an 8-year deal, so the funds were broken up over 8 years, and the Mudryk deal, I think, was the last deal in the queue before UEFA was like, no, you can only do 5-year deals and break up the funds. You can't do an 8. Arsenal have opened talks with Gabriel Magalhaes, although talks with the Brazil international are in the early stages. Christian Eriksen linked with leaving Manchester United in the summer. 1 year left on his contract, says he did not consider leaving the Old Trafford club. 4-letter paper. Real Sociedad and Martin Zubimendi regret not moving to Liverpool. Martin Zubimendi regrets not moving to Liverpool and wants Liverpool to come back in for him. AC Milan advisor Zlatan has contacted former Borussia Dortmund boss Edin Terzic, with Paulo Fonseca already under pressure. Remember, we talked about the De Rossi firing yesterday. You brought in Juric, as Nick suspected, but it's all about the American owners and the conglomerates. It's all about the championship, the Champions League money, and placing high to get into the Champions League to continue to churn that revenue. Inter Milan president Giuseppe Marotta said the club were close to signing Erling Haaland when he was 15, only for red tape to scupper the move. But you didn't sign him, did you? Arsenal could lose Tomiyasu in January. Inter Milan, Napoli, Juve interested. 3-letter paper. Ben Chilwell expected to leave Chelsea in January despite returning to first-team training. Chelsea could appoint Sachin Gupta, the executive VP of the Minnesota Timberwolves, to a role at the Stamford Bridge Club. Newcastle monitoring Chelsea's 18-year-old right back Josh Achiampong and could try to make a move for the U19 international in the summer. So that's your gossip, rumor, and innuendo for the morning from our friends at the BBC. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. And once again, you got Champions League. So at the very least, camp out on Paramount Plus for today's Champions League. Hit refresh, genius. So it's like it gives it to you when you hit Soccer on TV, courtesy of our friends at Soccer America, and it gives you the old page. Let's go Soccer on TV. All right, so Soccer on TV, sections, news. Soccer on TV. So traditionally it is Paramount Plus with all of them, all 6, 2 at 12:45, 4 at 3. And then you have Universo and TUDN picking one each. BN has Flamengo Peñarol and Libertadores at 6. Atletico Paranaense Racing Club at 8:30. CBS Sports Network, Atletico Madrid, RB Leipzig at 3. We're still navigating the CONCACAF W Champions League. Gotham and Monterrey is at 7 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. ESPN Deportes has La Liga, Leganés, and Athletic Club at 1 o'clock. The W Champions League, both matches on ESPN Deportes, Gotham, Monterrey, and Club América Santa Fe at 7 and 9. 9:30, Fox Deportes, the Liga Nacional Honduras, Real España, and Victoria. TUDN's Champions League selections, Feyenoord, Bayer Leverkusen at 12:45, Monaco and Barcelona at 3. Unimas is simulcasting those. ESPN Plus, the La Liga and the W Champions League matchups, 1, 7, and 9. Golazo Network has Feyenoord, Bayer Leverkusen at 12:45, and they also have America and Santa Fe at 9. Paramount Plus has all 6 of your matchups. Red Star Benfica, Feyenoord, Bayer Leverkusen at 12:45. Atalanta Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, RB Leipzig, Brest Sturm Graz, Monaco Barcelona. They have all 6. Paramount Plus also has both matchups in the Champions League, Gotham, Monterrey, and America and Santa Fe. So that gets you into today. Start at 12:45 and don't turn the TV off. Traditionally is how that'll go. Abby says she has an extra ticket if someone wants to join her for the 2s on the home finale. So today being today, and Abby, thank you for sending the mail on Art Harris, separate and apart. But Tuesday, the 24th, 7:30 kick, last regular season home game for Atlanta United 2 as they take on Messi and Friends 2. You want to go? Go. It's the last regular season home match of the season. So go and catch up with the 2s, especially if you haven't seen them this year. MLS Next Pro, because of everything going on in MLS Next Pro, schedule for today, it's just the one game. just Atlanta United 2 and Crown Legacy at Matthews, 7:30. It's on MLSNextPro.com and on the SDH Network. Once again, 7 o'clock pregame, 7:33 kick. Saturday, you have the two matches that are dancing around Major League Soccer games. Season Pass has New England Chattanooga FC, 7 o'clock on NextPro.com. Cascadia, Next Pro Style, Tacoma at Whitecaps 2. And then that gets you into the standings. They leave Saturday alone. Sunday, a lot of folks play, and we'll get into that probably in the broadcast itself tonight as the twos take on Crown Legacy. Your standings in the East. Basically, here's how it is. For Atlanta United specifically, they got to win. They got to win out. 40 points is the magic number, and they've got to hope that no one gets north of 40. Atlanta United would finish with 10 wins. Then you get into tiebreakers. With everyone else around them, the one that you have to worry about would be Red Bulls when it comes to goals scored. Tiebreakers themselves, in order: total number of wins, goal difference, goals for, shootout wins. So total number of wins would be 10. You'd be tied. Goal difference being your second category. Right now for Atlanta, you're at minus 20. That's really going to hurt you. So getting to that second tiebreaker is really going to hurt. Right now, FC Cincinnati 2 in, 48 points. Philadelphia, 46 points. So the battle for the 1 and the 2 continuing. Purple team, OCB is at 43. Inter Miami 2 is at 42 with 12 wins. NYCFC 2, 42 and 10 wins. Right now, they have a better goal difference than Columbus Crew 2, who is the 6. Fire 2 is the 7 at 41. Crown Legacy right now is the 8 at 40. Chattanooga FC at 38. Carolina Core at 37. Toronto FC 2 at 34. Red Bulls 2 at 33. Atlanta United 2 at 31. So that's where we are. Atlanta United 2's got to win big, and win them all. And hope that no one clears 40 points. So that's where we are heading into the weekend involving Atlanta United 2. But it starts tonight. With the matchup at Crown Legacy. 7 o'clock pregame, 7:33 kick. And so then from there, it's the game at home, the regular season finale on the 24th, and then the twos in Philly and the regular season finale on Sunday the 29th. So that's where we are with all of that. Let me check and see if there's anything else that I'm missing before we get out of here. And once again, 7 o'clock pregame, back again for that. The CEO at Al Nassr says Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't control the club. I believe that when I see it. Zlatan on AC Milan, he says, I'm the boss, I'm in charge. And I would imagine that the second he is not in charge, that he will want to jet out the door. Unquestionably. Real Madrid is interested in Arsenal's William Saliba, according to The Independent. Keen to reinforce their back line next summer. Jonathan Tah, according to Dale Johnson, is high on the list of targets for next summer with the Bayer Leverkusen player out of contract. Manchester United might be moving for Southampton starlet Tyler Dibbling. The 18-year-old forward has impressed Dan Ashworth. Southampton wanted to sign a new deal. United could swoop in to land one of the top young prospects. Samson Baidu, according to Diario Sport, Barcelona, one of the several clubs tracking the defender from FC Salzburg. He's been there since 2018. Interest in the young center back is in the past. They looked at Haaland, Mane, and Szoboszlai. Barca's been following Salzburg for quite some time. So you are looking at all of that. Corinthian striker Yuri Alberto has had offers from across Europe in the last transfer window, according to his agent, but the club won't let him go. Let me go. Club is like, nope. Manuel Pellegrini wants to stay at Real Betis beyond 2026 when his deal expires. Let's see. Martin Zubamendi now wants to sign for Liverpool. Real Madrid and Manchester United are watching Dinamo Zagreb midfielder Martin Baturina, according to Sky Germany's Patrick Berger. And in case you missed it, Andy Carroll has signed for Bordeaux from Amiens. Bordeaux got large crowds last year, signing of Andy Carroll, who once broke the transfer fee for an English player. When moving from Liverpool to Newcastle United more than a decade ago, $35 million. Played in all 4 matches for second-tier Amiens before joining them from Reading on a free. Arsenal assessing the market, looking at somebody that we talked about with Nino, Victor Gyökeres, one of the names at the top. So is Alexander Isak. Mentioned Tomiyasu, mentioned Nikola Shira. Juve have no plans to listen to offers for forward Kenan Yildiz, believed to be referred to as untouchable. Leicester City and Bournemouth interested in the move for Joel Matip at the age of 33. And we mentioned Magalhaes as being looked at by Arsenal, but then looking at the new contract, I'm sure that Magalhaes wants. I think that's the end game here. So I think that's it. We caught all of the games. We got you caught up. We allegedly know where we're going. Oh, let me check the juice boxes for the twos and Crown Legacy tonight. Crown Legacy a -172. Atlanta United is a 334, and your draw is a +344. It will be interesting to see who from the roster makes their trip up north, who didn't play last night. Brennan, Wolf, Cobb, Edwards, etc. Who from last night's roster, game day 18 or 20, makes it up I-75 to take on Crown Legacy at Matthews? That, to me, is the big question. Tomorrow, once again, it'll be a weekend whip around patent pending, trademark coming sooner, hopefully, rather than later. And in that, hopefully, we can get you all squared away for the weekend. Maybe our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring might be dropping by at 9:30. Like I said, 10 o'clock and everything else going on. We're getting you ready for the weekend with all of the guests, everybody who crashes the party, everybody who loves the sport and wants to talk about it, all the leagues, all the stuff right here on SDH. So we'll be back in a little less than 22. Almost 21, considering how late we were this morning. But once again, thanks for dropping by, as you always do. And we'll be back at it again tomorrow, technology permitting, 9:05 Eastern, to get you ready for the weekend. Big draw, big point for Atlanta United too, to kind of stay in step with those around them as they're chasing the playoffs. So we'll see how that continues to go this weekend. And anybody that wants to drop in on Friday, please do. So for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Thanks for dropping by. Be back at it again in a little less than 22. And this means that I get to try and find our banner to whistle us to a close. Play it safe, everybody. Mucha plata, y'all. We'll catch up with you on a Friday.